Ya Nabi, Ya Nabi, Ya Nabi, Ya Nabi, Ya Nabi.
Today is a series of discussions and provocations about the relationship between the arts and wellbeing. It's actually part of Creativity and Wellbeing Week, which is a nationwide festival of all things that connect creativity and culture with health and wellbeing.
And as a network, we're really interested in how deep and meaningful engagement and participation in culture and creative activity impacts on individual and community wellbeing. We want it to be about honest conversation, provocation, debate and exchange.
Can art really heal this place, and should it be expected to? If the Royal Opera House, Tate Modern, the National Theatre are not asked to measure their health and wellbeing outputs, why should we?
Both of these networks, CPP and the Culture, Health and Wellbeing Alliance, are trying to keep pushing at these big questions about art and culture. Who gets to make it, who benefits, how do they benefit, who sets the agendas, what value do we give to creative practice, to the imagination, to agency.
I think it's just massively important and incredibly fantastic when you have an opportunity to step away from your day-to-day work, to come to events like this, to hear case studies, hear feedback, hear stories.
We have this huge demand upon people to be able to do everything, artists having to evaluate at the same time as delivering their sessions. So try as best as possible to link up with academic institutions.
How do we work together to ensure that we're not duplicating work? How do we ensure quality of work? And I mean in training, but I also mean in processes and as organisations. Are we creating problems for ourselves by using language such as arts on prescription, something inherently medical that suggests something being done to someone rather than self-actualisation?
Should we be all in as artists in social prescribing, or should we get out of it and be artists?
We kind of think arts is the solution, and then we sort of try and work our way back and retrofit a question that we're trying to solve before we really start to think about the question. So my provocation to you today would be to, instead of just going, that sounds great, ask the next question.
I think there's some challenges to this work in this sector. I think we have to be careful about overstating the role that the arts plays. The question was asked, does the arts make people better? To which I think the response has to be no. The arts contributes, it creates spaces, relationships and opportunities for people to make themselves better. And I think we just have to keep challenging ourselves on what we do and what we don't do, and the why of what we're doing.
So it's about how to raise aspirations of young girls and kind of look at stuff around self-esteem and stereotypes. Then the challenge was actually, we've not really focused on the boys. And we had an issue. A lot of things about mental health, people bottling things up, and the biggest issue was with men.
I'm not disheartened or disheartening. I'm encouraged and encouraging. I'm confident, I'm flourishing.
In this world where the decisions of others have an impact over us, we still have a choice.
What I'm really interested in is, are people feared to evaluate? Is it a barrier in the arts? Somebody said a question this morning about why we're just doing control groups in art. Why aren't we looking at how art is doing really well for singing, but then also something else, something non-art? Because I think comparing and contrasting that would give a bit of a robust evidence base.
I'm interested in the relationship between the marginalisation of the arts within schools, within the curriculum, and this relationship between poor mental health in children.
There was one guy that hadn't spoken in any of our groups for 18 months. He came into Claire's group, and within 3 months he was conversing on a weekly basis and going away and doing research.
But now, mentoring other group members.
Certainly in some of the very difficult areas that artists are going into, how do you hold them? How do you hold their mental well-being as well?
I sort of I'm a freelancer as well with the CPP Hounslow, but before that I was a participant. So I used to attend the meetings. We have a local advisory group which we call the LAG group. So we all meet together. But one thing that I really love the concept of the CPP is they let you, the participant, make decision on the projects that you want to do.
That to me seems quite worrying, the idea that you will actually take on these roles of the youth workers who are no longer employed, the social workers who are no longer employed.
There's an ethical code of practice that needs to be maybe bedded in, where the host organisation, the artist, the funder all sign up to something that says this is how we do this.
It has been genuinely quite a provocative day so far. We've had some people who really know what they're talking about being given space to question things about this work, which is what you want out of a conversation like this.
You have been talking about health and arts. This is what I do. I sing and I think it makes me feel better. Hamara Nabi bolo ya Nabi ya Nabi ya Nabi. Thank you very much. You guys are all qualified to join my choir.